All right, guys, we are back. Who's got two thumbs up and enjoyed staring at their phone and computer again like a crackhead last night? That'd be this guy right here. Going through the Taco Bell drive-thru as I got some food for my kids last night and checking scores. Felt good. It felt good. It felt real good.
Definitely gave me like all the feels, like tilting early, just excitement. All the feels came back right away.
Yes, and it's like, okay, I got to remind friends and family right now that I am now glued to my phone and computer again for the next couple of months as we stare at these NBA scores, because NBA changes so quick. Like, you can walk away from checking baseball scores for a half hour, hour at a time and not really miss that much. NBA, it's like every 30 seconds I want to refresh to see what's going on. So I don't like the preseason like I like the regular season or the playoffs, man, but it felt real good.
It definitely felt real good, no doubt about it.
All right, man, a couple things to get into before we start doing this. So we just missed the 100 likes yesterday. We got to 96. So we're going to do this as the members only video for the public again today. We said yesterday if the second video got 100 likes, we would do members only for the public again today. I'll give you guys 96. That's super close. We appreciate that. It's a good time of the year for us to gain new viewers. So again, this is all really, really appreciated on our behalf. We'll play that game again today, though. But instead of likes, we're going to change the game a little bit today. So listen up. If I can get 50 comments in the comment section today, we will do members only on Monday for the public again. The comments are simple. What's one of your favorite plays of the day? I don't need a reason. I just need you to put in the comment section somebody you like today, just to get kind of a gauge of what people are thinking about. We got our 7 games tonight. That should be fun. So comment on who you like, and we can do members only again for the public on Monday. Just to reiterate, I got a couple of fantasy basketball leagues year-long. If anybody's interested, reach out. And the NBA package for the full NBA year is for sale right now, $75. The next 20 people to sign up will get it at that discounted price. The PayPal and Venmo addresses are below to pay manually. Let's rock and roll. And before we get into that, last thing, our show sponsor, Overlay DFS, their Twitter link is below. They have matchups all over the place. They come out a little bit closer to lock, but get in on them, fun. Felt really good about one of them yesterday. It didn't play, but it's a brand new day today.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk this slate out with you. We got a couple more games tonight, so a little more deeper diving we got to do.
Absolutely. So good luck to everybody. Also, if you won last night, awesome. If you lost, it's a new day today. No matter if you won or lost, though, don't read too much into it, right, guys? It's preseason. Don't get too cocky or don't get too down on yourself. It's one game. Remember, guys, in the NBA, some days shots just don't go in, and that's not on you. And if all of your shots went in yesterday, that's awesome. Don't mean it'll happen today.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, so we're going to go game by game. We usually do members only game by game to kind of break these things down, starting with Toronto and Charlotte. And I think just at a quick glance this morning, my favorite play from this game is going to be a young man who just got himself paid, and that's Fred VanVleet with no Kyle Lowry here.
Okay, I get that. I like VanVleet, but my favorite play in this game is going to be one Chris Boucher.
I get that. I absolutely get that. And I think this is a situation where you can play both of them.
Why not?
Toronto, right? I mean, we talked about Canner and Giles last night playing both, and that worked.
And the other thing is, I mentioned to you about playing 3 Lakers without any Clippers, and obviously things are different. Things are a lot different because if one team, like the Lakers, played Kuzma and Horton Tucker like 30-plus minutes yesterday.
And Harrell.
If you know one team is going to do that, I would roll like 4 or 5 deep on that team potentially.
Now, just to be completely clear, we didn't know that.
No.
I mean, we had 3 Lakers on the show yesterday, and 2 of them are awesome. One of them wasn't. But I had no idea they were going to play that much. I just guessed on some of that.
Yeah, me neither. They played more than anyone. I mean, I never even expected anyone to play over 30 minutes yesterday. You know what I mean?
No. So if you get some great reporting somewhere later in the afternoon, and we'll do the same to look for that, that's awesome. I just don't think it's very easy to anticipate that. I think I overreacted trying to guess minutes yesterday more than anything, and didn't just play some guys that, were actually kind of obvious for situations like that. So I loved Harrell yesterday, but I never expected him to play that much.
Same.
So, okay. I think we can still look at how guys play in the preseason. I don't think you want to overreact on it, but it's always worth a look because it only takes a minute to look it up. Last year, Toronto, VanVleet was playing about 26 minutes a game, same as Kyle Lowry. Tonight we have no Kyle Lowry. And also VanVleet's not expensive. You're not overspending on him. He's $6,600.
So the only thing about VanVleet, and I agree, he's on my short list. There's a guy in a later game that I also like that is a guard that's even cheaper than Van Vliet, and I'll just say it, Jamal Murray.
Okay. Anything specifically you love about Jamal Murray right here? And we'll get into this game in a little bit.
Yes, he's 5,600.
Okay, he's really, really cheap. I wasn't looking a ton at the Denver guys because I noticed that last year Denver was really, really easy on their players. Now, Jamal Murray did lead that with 22 minutes a game, but guys like Jokic were significantly lower than the other superstars in their average minutes per game.
I don't think that Murray's a must. I just,
He's cheap.
Yeah, Jokic is 8.5, I think. Porter's 6,700 and Murray's 5,600. That just makes no sense.
Yeah, it's a good price play. Price is different in the preseason, but there's, that doesn't change the fact that's a great price play.
Exactly.
All right. So, again, as far as Toronto goes, I like Van Vliet. I can get on board with any of the bigs. There's no Gasol. There's no Ibaka. So it's Siakam, Boucher, Aaron Baines, Alex Len. It's hard to know what Coach Nurse's plan is in this situation, but I can understand why you might like any of these guys. And very much like the Cantor Giles picks from yesterday, can easily be a situation where you play both of them or two of them.
Agreed wholeheartedly.
Now, as far as Baines and Len go, Baines is projected to be the starter. That's what it sounds like. I don't know what that means for his minutes tonight. He's 4,600. You remember last year, the last time we saw this dude, he dropped his biggest game of all time, but that's not who he is, right? That's just, you won't expect anything like that.
No.
Alex Len's the ultimate wild card. I think we've all been Alex Len, both good and bad enough in our life. I don't know what to expect out of him here again today. Is there a specific reason you like Boucher?
Yeah, I just think that this type of format, like the exhibition preseason, really suits his style. We know he's a guy that can put up DFS points. That same token, though, I also can get on board with Len.
Yeah, and I get why he could be good. I think there's a bunch of wild cards on the Toronto team as they've completely redone their front court this year. So it's a lot different than it has been. They brought in, several different players. Again, no Ibaka, no Marc Gasol, so it's completely different. I think it's worth watching. And as far as like Toronto and playing their guys, again, there's no Kyle Lowry, but I would put Nurse right there as those guys. He played his guys a decent amount, nothing like over the top, but they weren't like holding them back.
I also think you asked me about Boucher. I think he's good. You know what I mean? So I think this could be a good year for him. No better place to start than tonight.
I gotcha. And they got their Norman Powells and their Anunobis and everything like that. Those aren't guys I'm really like looking at. Like, I get it why you might like them. I get why you might like Matt Thomas. Those just aren't guys I'm specifically like locking in early this morning.
No, same. Terrence Davis would be my favorite out of that group.
Gotcha. Okay. Flipping the script a little bit over to Charlotte. Charlotte is not a team that I'm specifically, kind of like locking in right here. Now they got three guards in Ball, Rozier, Devontae Graham. Doesn't do a ton for me here specifically. Is there anybody from Charlotte you were kind of looking at?
Nada.
Okay. Bridges played really good minutes in the preseason last year. If you want to take a shot on him, okay, fine. There's nothing great I'm going to say about this one. He was the guy I was looking at the closest, but now they've added Hayward and Ball. So, I'd like to see what his role is kind of in this offense. I could get it if you took a shot on a PJ Washington, fine. But yeah, you're right. I'm with you. There wasn't anything I was in love with from the Charlotte side of things.
From Charlotte, if I'm making one line, I don't think I'll get anywhere. But two guys, I'm thinking about one, LaMelo Ball, because he's a point guard. I imagine he'll play a bunch here as their number 3 pick. And then I also think this Vernon Carey is sneaky. Their second-round pick from Duke. If you remember, an old offensive lineman for the Dolphins named Vernon Carey. This is his son, and he's a big man who can score. So this is a good type of setting for him. Again, just a GPP flyer.
Yeah, and I encourage people to play GPPs this time of the year, right? There's a lot of wildness going on in this. I mean, for me personally, I played a little bit of each last night, but if you want to go for it, have some fun and go for it with plays like that.
And also, when I say GPP here, though, if I'm playing an $100 single entry, I'm probably not using Carey. But if I'm entering, the $3 20 entry max, throw them in once or twice,
I gotcha. No doubt about it. All right, your Cleveland Cavaliers take on the Indiana Pacers tonight. New coach in Indiana. Is there anything from this game that was kind of sticking out to you early on?
Yes, there's one guy, one of my favorite plays on the slate, and this is just a gut call. A guy I like for DFS purposes, a guy I think is going to be good this year, and he's going to play minutes tonight, and that's Colin Sexton, who I think is just getting slept on.
I wasn't sure if he would make my optimal lineup, but he was a guy that was somebody I had been intrigued by and listening to. Look, like he puts up DFS points. Like there's no question about it. If you go back to before the season and everything faltered last year, this guy had dropped 40 or 36 plus in 4 or 5. He's aggressive when he gets the ball. If my memory serves me correctly, he led the Cavaliers in points per or minutes per game in the preseason last year. Let me just double check that. Now, it was Tristan and then Colin, but, Tristan's not a thing anymore. So Colin was playing 25 minutes per game. It's kind of his team right now. And I'm with you. I don't think he's going to get a lot of love in this situation.
And the other thing, I know a point you love, like a feather in the cap, man. He's a point guard with shooting guard eligibility.
Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt at all. Only helps. The guy from Indiana, you can kind of talk me into, would be Domantas Sabonis. And I got a couple of bigger money guys that I like today, so he's not my top priority. But what we know about Sabonis is like he just walks into points really, really, really quickly because he's really good at the game of DFS.
Yes. I will say, like, on that same token, I also can get on board with Andre Drummond. But both those guys are almost like eating into each other for me.
Sabonis and Drummond?
Yeah, only because, like, I think that, well, obviously one of them is going to eat into the other's rebounding. Again, that's just a minor problem. I'm not sure. I guess the question is, I don't know who I like more, Drummond or Sabonis.
Well, I got a couple of bigger money guys I like later that are penciled in for me. So neither of these guys make my top, like bigger money dudes. But, I don't mind rebounders this time of the year. That's for sure. Close to the basket type of shooters. We saw some guys look good from 3-point range last night. Classic. We also saw some guys look a little bit off. A lot of these guys haven't played basketball on a competitive level in a while.
Mm-hmm. So for me, my one guy here is Sexton.
Yeah, I can get on board with Sexton for sure. He was a guy that I had been looking at this morning as well. I think he's fairly priced. He wasn't the first guy I was putting in my lineup, but I could definitely get on board.
Cool.
All right, next game up, we got San Antonio against Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is sitting a lot. There's another shooting guard I like a lot. I like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. No Dennis Schroeder, no Chris Paul, no Al Horford tonight. He's very fairly priced at $5,900. It is his team right now. I think he's probably the guy that I would like from Oklahoma City first.
Who's the coach for OKC now?
Oh, boy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Mark? I don't even know how to pronounce his name.
I didn't even realize that. Okay, well, I have no idea what his, agenda
None of us do.
Yeah, so I know they're missing a lot of guys.
Yeah, OKC. No Dort. At least guys have no Horford, no Baisley. They're missing a bunch of guys. So for me, I like Shai. I think he's very fairly priced at $5,900. Decision I'm thinking about is Fred VanVleet or Shai, or do I play both of them?
I get that, man. I wasn't really looking too hard at him, but I get it for sure.
As far as the San Antonio side of things go, I'm not saying there's not good plays on there. There wasn't anybody that I was locking in. Pop, classic Pop, didn't go very heavy on anybody last year. Definitely spread those minutes out. So I don't think there's like a lock for good minutes right here. If there's something you like from the Spurs, do your thing, but there wasn't anything I specifically liked.
Same.
Even a guy like Lonnie Walker, who's a little bit of a darling to the DFS world, he's considered questionable, so you wonder how much he would play. Shai was the main piece for me.
I get that. I could see myself not using anyone from this game, to be honest.
I get that. All right, Bucks against the Mavericks. I mean, I don't know about you because we haven't talked this one over before we got on here. I'll probably just lock in Giannis today because it's easy to afford whoever you want. And I know I've posted this all over social media already today. But over the last 2 seasons, Giannis is averaging about 25 and 12 over about 23, 24 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to like there. That itself makes me really like him. You've
always said this, and I'm going to quote you on this one. Nobody puts up points as quickly as Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Whoever said that is a genius because they're
I was
definitely.
like,
So yeah, man. Especially after hearing that, I really haven't been on social media at all this morning, so I didn't even see that. I'm about it.
and the thing about Giannis is like, we've talked about this before. Like this guy can like double in like 16 minutes. And also the preseason format without high intensity defense, it's like the opposite of the playoffs. So this is a time for him to shine. I'm sure the last game these teams met up, he remembers Luka taking him to overtime. So if you're looking for a little extra motivation, not that I think he needs it, it might be right there. And this is like, I think this is a perfect scenario for him. So I actually have a ton of interest. And I think this is the highest total game of the day, of starting with Luka and Giannis, and then just filling in around them for my main lineup.
I get that. There are a couple other studs I like. Like when I first built, these guys were not in my lineup. I hadn't heard of, the Giannis numbers. I do think that I'm much more likely to play Giannis than Luka.
Okay. Anything you don't like about Luka? Just the guard eligibility?
There's just like a guy in John Morant I like more.
Okay. I was looking into how Luka was last year. He was playing 26 minutes a game in the preseason and doing Luka stuff, basically averaging a triple-double in the preseason.
That's amazing.
No. Don't, wrong right there. It's 2010 and 4. I was looking at his defense rebounds and offense rebounds. So basically 20 points a game, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. Shooting 8 threes a game.
That's fair. That doesn't mean it will happen this year, though.
Yeah, no Porzingis as well in this game. Just heads up for anybody who's looking at that. Although if you look at DraftKings, you probably already knew that.
Yep.
How about Boban?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, listen, anytime you get a Boban potentially playing minutes, I'm sold.
Yeah. He saw about 13 minutes a game last year in the preseason, so take from that what you will. We know he puts up points in a hurry. He's not like a top play for me today or anything like that, but it's kind of an interesting idea because if Boban sees minutes, you know what he does.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Could we cut out for a second?
I just said I agree. I don't know if you caught it or not.
Nah, we had a temporary internet freeze.
Was there anyone else on Milwaukee you were interested in?
Not Drew, not yet. I can get on board with a DJ Augustine, Bryn Forbes, or Dante DiVincenzo. They're not like shortlisted for me though, as far as the cheap guys go. I can understand if you like a Chris Middleton. Probably not a guy like I'm trying to lock in right here or anything like that. I could definitely get on board with a Bobby Portis.
Yeah, I could too. I don't think if I were making one line, I'd use him, but I could get on board.
Yeah, I don't think I would use him in one line either, but I liked the studs in this game as far as the rest of the Dallas squad goes. I can understand it if you like a Brunson or a Burke or a Hardaway or a Richardson or whatever it might be. But for me, this was a game where I was looking at the studs, feeling pretty good about getting a solid baseline of points from them, and then kind of moving on from there. So it wasn't so much the secondary pieces.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in the secondary pieces either. So, yeah, cool.
All right, moving over to the Minnesota versus Memphis game. We'll start on Memphis. What was it about the young stud John Morant that had you so intrigued today, Mr. Bellin?
He's awesome. Minnesota is not good at defense. Second year, true. I think he takes a big jump. He's just one. I think he's a guy I'm going to be targeting like a lot in year-long drafts. So we don't have a ton to go off of here, and I like him a lot.
Gotcha. I
think he missed the preseason. Oh no, he didn't.
22. Yeah, 22 minutes per game, right in that kind of same level.
They really watched his minutes at the beginning of the year last year.
Yeah. And I think we also noticed last night outside of the Lakers, it was hard to gauge what you thought a lot of people were going to do in the first game. We got a little lucky with the Kuzma and the Harrell stuff like that, but Schroeder, the guy that we also liked a lot, didn't play big minutes.
Kuzma was incredibly lucky because he got some garbage time stuff.
Yes, he did. Harrell was good from the drop. Schroeder did not get the same number. Where we screwed up was not playing, as we kind of discussed this morning, Horton Tucker.
Yes. So here, man, I like Ja a lot. And then the other guy I like in this game that Feels good to have NBA back because you're going to get a giggle out of this. It's Karl Anthony Towns, man.
Do you know if he's going to play?
I know that he has that questionable tag. Obviously, I'm assuming that he's going to play. I haven't seen much about it. So I'm going on that he's healthy. Everything I've seen is that he's healthy. So
I know. I sent you that meme the other day. That cracked me up. That I'm drawing a blank on the first round pick. Edwards is in a locker room with Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell. I'm like, how did you not include Towns in this one?
So Towns had a really rough offseason. I don't know if you know about it.
Yeah, he did.
Mom died from COVID. A bunch of family members passed away. I think that he comes out with a mission this year, and he's also really good. He's a stud. He can put up DFS points. I do think that that a lot of people won't be on him. People will gravitate towards Giannis and Luka, especially because he's got the questionable tag. I like him here.
So I did run a poll this morning. I was trying to get a gauge of where people were going with studs, and it gives me absolutely no information because we're only 26 votes in, but it is just spread out among the guys that I put up there. I did not put Towns up there because he had the questionable tag. There's a lot of bodies now in Minnesota. I think they're going to be an underperforming team this year because I don't like how everything meshes, but there's a lot of talent on this team now.
A lot of talent. I mean, you got Towns, Russell, Beasley's good, Rubio. At the end of the day, I want Towns. If I use someone from Minnesota, it's Towns.
What are your thoughts on the first round pick or the first overall pick, Edwards?
He's supposed to be a prolific scorer, and he was, one of the better players in college last year, especially for a freshman. But being on a team with Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, I mean, I just can't see it this year. I just can't.
Okay. How about tonight for 4,700?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, but probably not where I go.
Okay. And I think, with Beasley and Towns listed as questionable, I just watched the Timberwolves today. It's tricky in the preseason. Somebody sent me something from Roto Grinders yesterday talking about how Kawhi was in the optimal lineup. And, my first thoughts was, look, man, even if he plays tonight, I don't know how to trust Kawhi because I just can't trust him to be in there. And lo and behold, what did he play, 13 minutes last night?
Yeah, Kawhi was in the optimal lineup last night, someone said?
Per Roto Grinders, write-up or something like that.
Oh, so not after the fact.
No, not after the fact. It was just this was their projected optimal lineup or something like that. And I'm like, I just can't play Kawhi in the preseason.
That's silly.
Yeah, because it was even worse because he actually played, right? But then he only played a little bit.
Well, the thing about that I liked about that was it took all the Clippers out of play for me.
Yeah. The only guy I was okay with was Zubac, and he was blah.
Yeah, I was okay with Man, and he was blah. So, yeah, worked out decent there.
Yeah, the Timberwolves have a lot of talent. I don't think it's going to work. And also the West has got a lot of good teams. So it's they're not going to be better than Denver and stuff like that.
These are also guys
you
don't like. You're not a Russell fan. You're not a Towns fan. Their two best players are guys you don't really like.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to win at the NBA level if this is your core of superstars.
I get it.
So the West is loaded. I mean, other than the Thunder and the Spurs, who is just not even a thing for you this year? I think it's going to be super. There's a lot of talent out there.
Agreed.
Those are the only two bad teams I can think of. And they play each other tonight.
The Kings won't be good.
No, they won't make the playoffs. But even they have talent. Especially if your boy Bagley was actually healthy.
Yeah, well, that's a big if. But I'm with you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I love De'Aaron Fox, and they got some good guys on that team. But you're right. There's no way they're going to make the playoffs.
It does feel like they lost one of their better players in Bogdanovich for nothing. Also,
this is true. So as far as Memphis goes. You like your boy Ja Rule tonight. What about Dylan Brooks?
I'm fine with it. This is kind of like the Milwaukee game for you. I'm more interested in the studs than the secondary pieces.
Definitely. Again, we still got no Jaren Jackson Jr. We got a bunch of guys questionable on Memphis, so it's difficult to speak about them right now.
Yeah, and also Hazonia got cut. So, I mean, this could be one like Gorgie Jang.
Dang, I was just going to see Gorgie Jang.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Jackson's out, especially if Clark's out. I mean, J-Val's not going to play big minutes here.
I wouldn't expect him to. I mean, I can understand Gorgie Jang in a GPP type of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So clicking over to Golden State versus Denver. We'll go to the the best player in this game, or at least from the Golden State side, maybe the best player still in this game. Coach Steve Kerr will keep Curry's minutes in the 20-ish range. So, I mean, he's an older player, right? I would think 20 minutes would, that's what he says. I'll take him at his word right there. I don't think he's a terrible play, but I'd rather take a chance on somebody else you might think might play 24.
I'm surprised he got so much love in your poll.
So I think people are just excited to play him. And there's no Klay Thompson.
I like Morant more.
Yeah, and I like Luka more. So he's not a guy that I'm trying to lock in. And I bought a bunch of guards that I can play. Shai, Fred VanVleet. We got a couple guys still in the Denver we're going to talk about, and a couple guys in the next game I like at the guard position. So I get it if you're excited to play Curry because he's amazing. And he will just jack threes up in the preseason. I was looking at his numbers. Like, he just runs down there and chucks it up, which is fun to watch. But there's a lot of good players on this slate. Give me somebody who might play 25 minutes as opposed to 20.
Yeah, on the same token, I don't hate it in tournaments because, like, you look at John Wall last night, who had a really good game in 18 minutes. Like, not crazy to think Steph does that. That said, my favorite play from Golden State is Oubre, I think, at small forward. Priced affordably. Again, has that small forward eligibility.
No Draymond.
No Draymond. You do have Wiggins, but I'm a fan of Oubre's game, and I think this is a good spot for him. With no Draymond, no Klay, obviously. His first game as a Warrior. I like him here.
Also, they don't have their rookie.
Correct.
Marquise Chris could be a thing. I don't feel good about it. I'm not going to sit here and like jump in with 2 feet and recommend it, but I can understand why Marquise Chris could put up some numbers here.
Yep, same. You know who I think could be a thing in this game? One of my favorite sleepers on the slate from the other side. Bol.
I can get on board with that. He's in the minimum. I get that. No Jeremy Grant, no Mason Plumlee. And if you look at Denver, doesn't mean it's the same way this year, but they were not hard on their starters last year. They didn't make them play bigger minutes. The top guy was Jamal Murray at 22. Jokic, 19 minutes per game. That's like 4 or 5 less than a bunch of the other superstars out there. So if you like a guy like a Bol, I mean, rock and roll, right?
I do also think it matters. Denver was a team that played deep in the playoffs. Like, they're not going to stress their guys the first game. They're just not. I'd be surprised if they did.
Yeah, Jokic and Murray are way different here because Jamal Murray is only 5,600.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even in love with Murray because of everything you've said, but he's surely in play because he could make value in that in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? We've seen that before.
The other thing that maybe if I'm trying to talk you off of Jamal Murray is regular season Jamal Murray and playoff Jamal Murray are not the same thing. In that situation, we saw him take over and who he really can be. He's more passive in the regular season. He lets his teammates do the work. I love Jamal Murray. I was a fan before. I loved everything I saw out of him in the bubble and in the playoffs, but he's not as aggressive in the regular season. And I would assume preseason would probably play out similar.
Truth, but you don't need that here at 5,600. But point well taken.
Yeah, there's just a lot of guards we're looking at. So if you're looking for a reason to, hop over to whoever else it might be, that could be something for you. Hopefully Will Barton. Okay, Will Barton is officially out, just as an FYI. That can't hurt Jamal Murray.
No, it cannot.
And Porter, I was thinking about him all morning, and that's why I started looking into Denver a little bit more. That's just more than I want to spend on him.
Yeah, same. I was thinking about him a little bit, but, I get the tournament upside, but again, I don't know about the minutes, and it's just more than I want to spend, exactly.
Yeah, I like the Bol call.
Yep.
What was the game that he played? There's some monster game where he played for a few minutes. That must have been.
I think it was in the bubble.
I can't remember. It was the greatest performances of all time. It was the Michael Jordan flu game, Wilt's 100, and Bol for 7 minutes in this game.
Yeah, right.
Can't remember the exact details of it. All right, moving over to the last game. We got Utah taking on Phoenix. As far as Utah goes, Mike Conley has already been ruled out tonight. So Donovan Mitchell is a guy that, if you like him, I can understand playing Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I could too.
Not running to it. It's not my top play of the slate, but he's a guy that I was looking over this morning, to say the least.
I was too. It's hard for me to spend so much more on him than Jamal Murray, though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I get that. Jordan Clarkson, 4,600. Okay. All right, fine. Again, not loving it. Not thinking you have to run over to it, but there is no Mike Conley. And they get the boy Bogdanovich back.
Do they? He's back? Okay.
I mean, he's back this year. I don't know if he's back tonight.
I was going to say, what about Niang? A guy that they like was getting good minutes, as I don't want to say good minutes, but started to play minutes as in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I can get on board with a lot of these guys like this. Wasn't the guy I was specifically looking at, but I can understand why he would be.
I wasn't really either. He just kind of jumped out at me when we were going through this right now.
Utah's minutes per game last year in the preseason just kind of fall right in line with everybody else. The starters played very reasonable minutes, much compared to the other guys. Mitchell led the way with 25.7, Gobert 25.1, but it was all kind of in the same line.
Yeah. This game is, man, I don't know. Are you interested in much from this game at all? Because I'm not.
Not overly. Because, I mean, if you look at the Phoenix side, Chris Paul's an older player, so you wouldn't think they'd want to give him big minutes. But the flip side of that is you probably also want to get these guys acclimated. That does take me off of Booker because he's very, very expensive. And as much as I like Devin Booker, he just isn't the same as Luka and Giannis as far as points per minute. And these guys are basically the same price.
Yeah, I mean, I like Morant more. I agree with you. I like Luka more. You're right.
So, I mean, if you love Ayton at 6,600, I can understand that. I'd play Ayton over Devin Booker.
Same, easily.
Way less money. And I think the addition of Chris Paul does nothing to Ayton, but it does hurt Devin Booker from a fantasy perspective.
I think it helps Ayton.
I can go with that. I'd go with help way over hurt.
Yeah, I think easier looks. Chris Paul is a guy that I just think Chris Paul's presence helps Ayton.
Right? I mean, Chris Paul, say what you want about him. He should be able, like you said, get DeAndre Ayton easier looks at the rim, better and more efficient, proficient opportunities. And Ayton's very affordable at 6,600. I mean, I'm a bigger Booker fan than Ayton, but yes. Booker is $2,000 more. And from just a common sense standpoint, only averaged a couple more DFS points last year, while also now having Chris Paul likely eat into him a little bit, at least as far as his usage rate goes.
Booker's out of play here. I mean, he's priced the same as Giannis, Morant, who we like, Luka. And, on a normal occasion, you could say, well, maybe he just goes off. Even then, in a normal game, it'd be hard to play him here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So I think I've made it pretty clear who I like from a stud perspective, and you haven't shied away from the fact that, I'm looking more of the Luka Giannis, and you're looking more of the Towns Morant. But those guys are going to be similar price ranges and kind of set us up in the same situation. So I think for me and you both, assuming that Towns plays and you're able to do that, we start out in a very similar position right here because I'm rolling with about 53.83 per offensive guy. And if you switch this out to Towns and Morant, they are literally $300 less.
So I was just looking, since we started this video, Colin Sexton's out.
Okay. How come?
Minor ankle injury.
All right. Well, let's go back to Cleveland for a second. How about Garland?
I was just about to say, now I'm interested in Garland. I was already thinking about Garland a little bit. Now I'm definitely interested in Garland.
All right. So Sexton was their main handler of the ball. What's up with your boy Kevin Porter Jr. as well?
I'm not sure he's playing here. And I think he's still questionable.
Man, you tell me Porter Jr. is out and Colin Sexton is out? I got me some interest in Darius Garland, no questions about it.
Yeah, I'm already interested in him, even if Porter plays. So I'm with you. He's a guy I really liked coming out last year, too. He had torn his ACL as a freshman in Vanderbilt, still came out. seemed like that injury to his
Let's stop. I think that's a great point that he tore his ACL the year before, because the second year back, he might be a little bit more explosive this year.
That's what you've talked we've talked about that a lot, like in other sports, in basketball mainly, and like I think this could be a really good year for Garland. Assuming that, I just think that if the talent's really there and he's worked like I think he has, then this could be a breakout year for him, and this is a really good spot. Preseason, take it for what it is with no Sexton.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And honestly, I think you can play, let's say I play Morant and Towns. I could still easily fit Giannis.
Yeah, I don't think it would be that difficult, because just if you were to add Morant to this, yeah, it's simple to do, right? Because there's so many good 4K plays these days.
Exactly. So all you need is two of those, and maybe you're not rostering. You could probably fit like one more of like a Van Vliet guy that you like. Maybe you might not be able to fit that, but you obviously have to concede somewhere.
All right, so let's just pretend this is our build right here. And again, if we're flipping to Morant and Towns like you would, it puts you in the same track as far as money goes. So just from an initial stud start, Garland's a guy I'm looking at very closely right now, so I'm going to put him in the guard position. And then we move over to shooting guard. Let's go through a couple of these guys that we talked about. Obviously, Colin Sexton's off the list, but we talked about Fred Van Vliet right here. We talked about Shai. Jordan Clarkson. You mentioned Terrence Davis. All right, I'm a little torn on these guys right now, but Shai or Van Vliet, if I had to ask you to choose one of those two young men, who would you go with?
I like Shai more slightly.
Okay. It's a couple dollars less. I mean, he should be the offense right here. Even though there's no Kyle Lowry, like they still have Pascal Siakam. They got some good players on that team.
Another team that played deep in the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay. I like Shai a lot today, man. He's the offense now, right?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Especially, if I want another stud, this is where a guy like Bol really helps me.
Yeah, again, he's no lock because you don't know how much he plays, but I really like that call a lot.
I don't, except for the starters, most guys aren't locks. And I do think that sometimes people, in these preseason games, I saw some lines yesterday where they were trying too hard and playing all bench guys that, probably only played 10 minutes a game. I don't think Bol is that guy.
I think he plays too hard.
Well, no, I don't think you're trying too hard using him. And I also I think he plays 15 minutes here. I don't think he plays 5 minutes.
Yeah, I get that. That makes a lot of sense to me. As we go through the small forward rankings for selection, this is probably a position that I will end up spending down on. We mentioned Anthony Edwards. I don't know what to expect out of him tonight. We saw some rookies play well. The kid from New York, who I'm drawing a blank on right now, he started off on fire. Then he didn't do much in the second half. I know a lot of people played that Killian Hayes. Detroit's just a bad basketball team. So, maybe it was his fault. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's his first game. Who really knows? There's a lot of stuff to take a look at right now.
Yeah, a ton of stuff to take a look at.
Small forward's not strong, though. So it's definitely a position.
Yeah, that's the other reason I like Bol.
You mentioned Kelly Oubre at the small forward role as well.
Another guy I like. But the thing about Oubre I don't love is what you said about Steph, that he comes down and shoots all the time. So I like Oubre, also know that that will take away from Oubre.
Definitely. It's also his first game with the new team.
Exactly. I mean, you never know. He might be trying too hard, trying to impress. You never know.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just put Bol in there temporarily. Just kind of a point. I'll look through small forward more later. If we got a hard recommend, we'll do the follow-up video this afternoon as well. I don't know. Small forward's not as strong, so I'll leave him there for right now.
Cool.
Giannis has center eligibility now? Come on, DraftKings.
I know.
Right? Just giving him power forward, but center? Brook Lopez is literally in the game all game.
Center's pretty nuts. I'm with you.
All right. As far as center goes, we've mentioned both Sabonis and Drummond and Towns. They are fittable in this one. You have to be cheaper. I can. The more we think about it, though, I could definitely get on board with Ayton.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say 8, and I'm with you there.
Other centers to take
For
a
me,
look at.
like it does kind of feel like a stars and scrubs type of build, though.
Yeah, I think you're best off picking your studs and starting there. Like our format is different but similar in the sense that we're picking on guys from the same game. A big man and a little man. I like Luka Giannis. You like Towns and Morant, but they're basically essentially the same price. And then you kind of build around them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As far as centers go, we've talked through a bunch of these guys.
Like, I don't love Shy, but I don't really like shooting guard, so I might play Shy.
Yeah, I think Shai has the ball a ton. That's what I like about him.
I'm looking at, just building right here. Morant, Shy, Bull, Giannis, Towns, Garland. And I have 44.50 left for 2 guys. I mean, I'm more than fine with that.
Yeah, it should not be difficult to do at all. Or if you need a little bit more, like I said, I've mentioned I'm more than good with Ayton. And like for me, because I like Van Vliet more, like I can easily slide Van Vliet right in there. And then we get back down to that threshold of about 4,400 that you were kind of sitting at.
Yeah, exactly. I also like Boucher.
You think he would fit in here, right?
Yep.
Oh, I'm a little low. Could make some adjustments, but he's close to fitting in right there. For you, that would work perfectly, and then you would just need another cheaper guy.
Yeah. And I got another potential sleeper for Cleveland. If Porter's out, Damian Dotson. If you remember him from the Knicks last year. It's the guy that when he got run, he could put up DFS points. The Knicks are the Knicks, so we never knew when he was going to get run, etc. But don't hate it if Porter's out.
Especially because he has small forward eligibility, which is a weaker position.
Yep, and shooting guard, which I also don't like.
Yeah, I like shooting guard more than you because I like Van Vliet and Shy, but I get your points. Like those are always the hardest positions to fill.
I like Shy and Van Vliet, but I don't like him as much as you. And after those guys, it gets weak.
I get that.
That's the other thing about Jamal Murray. He doesn't have shooting guard eligibility.
Yeah, and especially like Garland's just point guard.
And Garland's a priority for me right now, I think.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
I was already really thinking about Garland, like even with Sexton. Like I like Garland. Now it's like he's one of my favorite plays on the slate now.
I'm not going to argue on that one. I'm not going to argue on that one at all.
We don't see the slate exactly the same, but we see it pretty similarly.
Yes, we do. And see, like this is a spot where, like, I don't love PJ Washington, but I could understand using him here at 4,400 because you're not paying big money for him. He's basically the minimum for a guy who could play 25 minutes tonight.
Yeah, agreed. I also will say, just to make the point, like, I still think leaving money on the table is more than fine. It's preseason. But tonight's a different slate because there's like a bunch of studs to spend up on.
Yeah. I mean, guys, we don't think Giannis or Luka or Ja or Towns are going to play 30 minutes. But give me 25 minutes of Karl Anthony Towns over 25 minutes of Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like, yes. Like, if you're talking like 16 minutes of Towns and like 28 minutes of Edwards, then it gets to be a real question. But we're not talking that.
Well, I mean, I kind of talked about this already and touched on it. I think I was trying too hard yesterday to pick guys I thought would play extra minutes, and it was great when Harrell and Kuzma got that. But there was also like, in the regular season, I would love Vucevic against the Atlanta Hawks. And instead of like trying to play for the extra 2 minutes, forget like Vuce is really good and the Hawks aren't good at defense. And they're bringing in a bunch of new people.
Yeah. Vuce was really good. He was very popular. Definitely hurt not having him. The saving grace was using Harry Giles because he was like actually better. But yeah, I'm with you. I kind of overthought that too. Trae Young stinking didn't help any matters, but he was so chalky it didn't really matter.
He was just 97% owned in the cash game I played in.
Yeah, seriously, like in the 33 entry max and then like the big $15, he was in both winning lines.
Yeah, so I know you messaged me closer to lock yesterday, like play Trae Young in all three. So I did a 3 entry max in GPP in a cash game. And I had Trey in the cash game. I figured he was going to be one of, if not the most popular guy on the slate, and he was the most popular guy on the slate. I played him in my second GPP, and the thoughts were to fade him on the third. But after I built the line with the other 7 guys I really liked, I had literally his money left. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, forget about it. He'll probably at least be solid. And then he did not play more minutes than other guys, which was kind of one of the reasons the industry loved him yesterday. And he was not very assertive while he was out there. He didn't make a single three-pointer by the best of my recollection. He was just all around terrible.
Yeah, he was not good at all. Turnovers. That's a thing about preseason too. That's tough. Like you don't have the time to make it up. I know that's something you talk about a lot. Like it doesn't matter when your guys do stuff. It does matter now because you don't have the time to make it up. Like when you roster your studs, you need them to play well in the first run.
Which is exactly why, to me, Giannis is my favorite play of the day right here. One, there's no Porzingis protecting the rim. This is not a high-intensity defense situation. He usually starts the game just rolling. And this is a dude that can like regularly drop 50 to 60 points in 20-some minutes. Your biggest concern with Giannis is he plays fewer minutes than other regular season guys. Well, that's not a thing today. He plays, probably similar minutes to other guys, and he puts up those points as a hurry. He's my favorite play on the slate, and that's the one pick I'm pretty bullish on today.
I will definitely play Giannis. I don't like Luka as much as you, and I don't feel the need to have to play both of them together.
No.
Like
I like Giannis more than I like Luka.
I could see myself, even if Towns plays, like I like Towns. My favorite 2 are Giannis and Morant. And I could see myself just playing those 2 if I only spent, for 2 studs. I don't care here that it's, Giannis versus Luka. Sure, that might be a feather in the cap, but I'm not going out of my way for that here.
Yeah, I was more just like looking, for me, I like that idea, but it's not the reason I'm playing Luka. I'm playing Luka because there's no Porzingis, and he is the dude with the ball in his hand the entire time.
For sure.
He just crushed Milwaukee last year. We couldn't stop him. We had no answer for Luka. So I have no reason to believe in the preseason that's going to change.
Well, now you got Drew Holiday.
Valid point, but it's not like Eric Bledsoe's a bad defender.
That's true.
We couldn't do anything with Luka last year. Like most people can't do anything. The Clippers couldn't do anything with Luka. He's pretty good at basketball.
This is very, very true.
All right, what are your thoughts? Like, this is the other guy from the Bucks I could get on board with. It'd be Bobby Portis. Is a guy who can put up bigger minutes. I think he's a big deal for the Bucks this year. Not like he's going to help win them a championship or anything like that, but I think he fits well as a big guy that can stretch the floor. I think you'd rather give him bigger minutes than Brook Lopez, so I think he plays a lot at the 5 this year. It's my second favorite piece from Milwaukee as far as points per dollar.
Okay, well, I got a good one for you. Portis or Gorgie Dang?
Portis.
Okay. I think
it is a Gorgie Jang revenge game.
I didn't even think about that. I think it's close, like if Brandon Clark's out especially.
Well, that was my next point. I don't know who's all in or out for Memphis yet. Memphis is literally sitting there with Anderson, and Clark is questionable. Kyle Anderson, Clark, yeah, I mean, those guys make a difference to me.
For sure. I mean, because it's Portis and Jang are close. I mean.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we've seen Jang tank. We've also seen him put up huge DFS points really, really quickly. Like incredibly quick.
Like incredibly quick. Yes. Yes, we have.
Problem with Jang, though, also only center eligible.
Yeah, definitely. I'm more thinking like if you have util for 4,200.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely get that. All right. Let's just do a real quick recap and let you guys bounce out of here. Clearly, you're allowed to bounce out of here whenever you want. But as far as Charlotte goes, you mentioned like the Vernon Carey. I don't think PJ Washington's a terrible play or anything like that. But it was not a game or a team specifically that we loved.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can get Devontae Graham at probably low ownership, but I also think there's a reason you probably get Devontae Graham at low ownership.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go through all the teams again.
Yeah, okay. Toronto, I like Van Vliet. Cleveland, we're definitely looking at Garland. Do you have anything else you really wanted to add?
I think it's important to stay tuned for injuries and stuff, and I'm definitely excited to talk with you later and finalize like our 5 guys that we like.
Yeah. I don't think
it really sounds like you see this slate pretty similarly low, which I like.
Yes, Colin Sexton out. Nothing's really changed other than the big announcement that you already gave us. So I'm ready to rock this thing. We'll stay tuned for more information, and things are bound to change throughout the day, which is NBA preseason in a nutshell. Which is
Man,
NBA in a nutshell.
I'll just say this. Like, I felt like, again, I barely snuck into the cash in one of my lines last night. Like, I felt dirty with Kyle Kuzma. Like, that was pathetic. I know that Harrell played a lot late too, but he had already gotten there. He didn't do anything late. You know what I mean? Like,
He went from good to great.
yeah, Harrell was like already a stud for that slate. Kuzma went from being pathetic to like viable because of like late garbage in preseason. Like, it felt dirty.
Well, he went from viable, like he was good because of the late run. Like he went from being a bad play to very, very good because of the late run. That's hard to predict. That's guessing. Again, we talked about both of those guys yesterday. I feel great about the Harrell pick. I feel terrible about the Schroeder one. And with Kuzma, you got there, but you don't feel like, oh, I nailed that one.
No, not at all. Not at all.
One last thing. Is there anybody like for big money you think will be super low owned for people who are trying to get crazy? Like I know, like you had Wall in one of your 3 lineups yesterday at very low ownership, and he was phenomenal.
Yes, but I think a couple guys will be like that, right? Only because there's more guys to pick from, right? So like I imagine that D'Angelo Russell will not get not a lot of love. Booker will not get a lot of love. Between those two, I'd play Russell.
I agree.
But I'm not really looking at either of them because you've got Towns. Like, yeah, I think that especially with Giannis and Luka, I don't think Towns gets a lot of love if he plays.
Probably not. I'm with you. I think it'll be spread out a little bit. I do
Who's
think
your
too many
favorite? Like,
low
out.
owned.
Yeah, like low owned out there, like stud. And it doesn't have to be over 8K. Like it could be Siakam.
I I think nobody plays Jonas Valanciunas at 7,500. And he's another guy like he doesn't play big minutes all the time in the regular season, which is why you get scared of him. But he doesn't always need big minutes.
A great example, like last night, no one played Elfrid Payton, but he was really good. Like, especially considered. I mean, he definitely had more than Trae Young.
Like remember, like Jonas is a huge game capable. In the last 2 games that the Memphis played last year, he scored 71 and 53 points. Like we've seen this guy, you know, 28 minutes against the Spurs, 33 points. Like he can go off early.
No doubt.
Now you're probably not trying to double up on Jonas and Ja, but I would assume Ja would get more love than Jonas.
For sure. Maybe I'd play John 2 and Jonas in 1, something like that.
Like I think DeMar DeRozan gets no love, but I think that's for a good reason. I would never touch him in a million years.
I agree, but I'm not gonna lie, man. I think I would play all these guys over Booker at 8,600. And I love Booker, but like like I would play DeRozan over Booker. I think
So would I.
Booker should be priced like these guys right here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that DraftKings changed his price with the addition of Chris Paul. Chris Paul's a point guard. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we saw Devin Booker with some good games last year alongside Ricky Rubio was also a point guard, but he just seems to be way too expensive.
DeRozan's not a good one because he's not a great play, but I don't love Donovan Mitchell here. But at the same price, I think I would play him over Booker.
And he's 1,500 less, so that's a big difference.
Exactly.
I
do think also, and we mentioned it earlier, this is a tough one, so we'll finish on this. I agree with you that Michael Porter seems too expensive. People love him. Do you think people will just eat that price tag because it's easy to spend or not want to spend that much on him?
I think it's going to be a mixed bag. My guess is he'd be like 25% owned. So he's not chalk, but he's not low owned either.
Same. And it's just so, I will say, it was so interesting to see how high owned the early guys were yesterday because,
Great point.
Lineups. Man, Harrell was so much lower owned than I thought he would be. Like, in that $33, he was 15% owned.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of my favorite plays on the slate. Now, it's not like I brought home any real money last night, so it doesn't matter. But he was good. He was good early. He seemed motivated. And like we talked about, that was one of the times like I was on board with the narrative. Like he felt like completely disrespected by the Clippers, and he's a hustle guy.
Like I love that call. As soon as you said that, I was like, I used him in all 3.
Yeah, I used him in all my 2 or 3 probably actually.
Like I think it was a lockable. I could not believe. I almost in one of my lineups that wasn't doing well. I was like, man, maybe I should just change out of Harold because he's going to be so chalky. But every time I do that, like it messes with your head. He wasn't chalky. That lineup almost cashed because Harold wasn't chalky.
Well, I want to talk about the Indiana Pacers real quick, and then we'll let you guys go. I feel like this is a team that might get completely overlooked today. I could be wrong on that. But it is important to remember, like, Cleveland's not a good defensive team. These guys could really roll early. Like, we saw, the Bulls are a bad defensive team as well. Well, they're not as bad when Wendell Carter's around. But, like, Houston was just rolling early. I could see the Pacers putting up nice points early. And guys like Brogdon and Turner.
I think they go very low owned because they're kind of in that mid-range. I was definitely looking at Brogdon, Sabonis, and Turner as guys like, damn, I'm probably not going to use them. But, man, if these guys had, like, 20 DK points at the end of the first quarter, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think Sabonis is my favorite because Oladipo could be like healthier and better this year and eat into Brogdon and vice versa. Like Sabonis gets his points because he is a great rebounder. He takes close to the basket shots. He's a guy I'm considering today. I think he's my favorite Pacer, but I'm really starting to think about these other guys. Also, there is no TJ Warren. He's out. Jeremy Lamb is still not back. So you could talk me into Turner, Brogdon, Oladipo, or Sabonis, all at relatively low ownership, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So get after it. All right, guys. We will hit you with our favorite plays of the day at the end of the day again. Again, throw a comment in the comment section. We get 50 of those bad boys, and we'll do some more members only for the public. Best of luck today.
Thanks, guys.